Yes. Season 1, episode 1.
Sure.
On 3 or after 3?
Episode 2. I don't know.
Episode 1. All right. So today's subject is introducing beyond the 9 to 5. And we're going to have different episodes because different episodes of Grumpy Bear Coffee is all about getting outside, drinking your coffee. Yeah. How would you describe Grumpy Bear Coffee?
Grumpy Bear. Well, yeah, it's just Grumpy Bear's not just coffee, but there's a big part of it. I think it's kind of like the whole just stepping outside your comfort zone and just not waiting for like big changes, waiting on life. And then there's like a loner element to it. And so I liked what you said the other day, because I've said this a lot, but the way you said it was really good. And I wish I would have wrote it down, but it was basically like you can be a part of something, even if you're like all alone or whatever. Because in the loner element, it's like that lone wolf camping. So Grumpy Bear is just like, it's the newsletter, it's the coffee, the film that we're working on, and then film festival. There's a whole lot of stuff. So Grumpy Bear, like coffee to me is like coffee gets me out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, your branding is drinking coffee outside.
Mm-hmm. For the coffee.
Anyway, so that's kind of what this series is going to be geared around, is motivation, getting outside, drinking coffee, craft coffee. It's going to be about people being stuck in ruts of their life and trying to live their purpose. So, okay, Aaron, what updates do you have since the pilot, since the last time we filmed?
When was that?
That was, okay, so this is pre-surgery. So
Was it that long ago?
yeah, it was just before your surgery.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, surgery was in December.
Yeah, so for those who didn't know, Aaron had a tumor on the back of his leg, on the back of his knee. Mm-hmm. It was non-cancerous, which is great. One thing that the doctor said was, this is probably the best case scenario. Whatever the answer is yes. If you want to remove it now, the answer is yes. If you want to wait, the answer is yes, which is very rare in his office, is what he said. So you decided to, let's just remove it. You want to move on from your life. So that was kind of the last before we start, like.
Yeah, that was like December 15th, I want to say.
Yeah.
And so it's been like the fact that it's April, almost May, is kind of, it feels like I feel like I'm in January still. So updates. The film is still under works. We kind of paused. Surgery kind of threw everything off. Yeah. We filmed a lot in November and early December, maybe. We filmed a lot. And so we're going to film some more. I got to go to a couple other places and get some more shots, and I'll start editing again. And then, so that was like the big push in the fall. And now we took a bit of a backseat for that, just to get other things built up. And so we're working on Grumpy Bear website is getting relaunched. So there's more like flexibility, like auto ship for coffee, and like a lot of just different like flexibilities. So we were having operational, just kind of slowing us down. And so we rebuilt the site, and then deepsnap.com as well. And so they're the same type of platform they talk to each other. So your logins actually sync. And cool. Yeah, it's really cool. That. Yeah, it's cool. So if you have create an account on one, you have an account on the other, and you can use the same password. Now your orders will be, you have to manage like your orders on the original site. Uh-huh. But anyway, so that's a cool thing. And then move the newsletter over there. The newsletter's coming back.
Still Grumpy Bear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that one's going to be hosted on deepsnap.com, but it's going to be called Hey Grumpy Bear. That's where, the branding and everything kind of merges a little bit. And the podcast, I don't know, this will probably live on both.
Yeah.
In a way. But coffee, we're really trying to keep the coffee site to coffee. And then deepsnap.com is going to be like everything, like camera stuff, gear, and then as we get like filters, presets, and courses, all that stuff, just kind of have it all in one account area so people can get in there and we can, I don't know, just
That's good.
add more value over time versus it being so fragmented.
Yeah. And you have new products, new merch. So new mug.
The new mugs. I'm excited about.
I'm
of course.
so excited about this. So it's matte mugs, but the logo is a gloss logo. And I think
It's my favorite mug ever.
It's so cool. I love it.
I like it because of the size. It's like, it's deeper. Like it's a bigger mug, but it's not like a wide mug. You know, like the wide mugs, I feel like they get colder faster. So this one's like perfect.
Yeah, I hate it when my coffee gets cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have a really bad habit of leaving my coffee mugs around the condo. And they always have 3/4 of coffee left in it because once it gets cold, I don't want to drink it anymore. I don't know if anyone else is like that. Apparently, we have a bad echo.
Echo's back now. Well, let's, I think we might just have to keep rolling. I think the TikTok live is kind of secondary to like the actual pod, you know? So
Totally, yeah. So should I just take off mine?
Maybe
Just exit the live?
well, we might kill it. I mean, I don't know if, unless we get comments coming in, I don't really have much coming down on my end.
Okay. All right. We'll keep going.
All right.
Okay, so updates is new website, new merch. I think we still have the hoodies and the hats, which is one that you're wearing. And then the coffee, we still have the coffee. So the coffee's not new. That's still an ongoing thing. What about where we're traveling? Should we update there?
Yeah. We got Las Vegas this weekend
for
NAB. It's like a big media show.
We are going to be at NAB. So if any other content creators is going to be at NAB, you should definitely reach out.
Yeah, I'm excited. That was the last second one.
Last second. That was
We booked it like 2 days ago.
3 days ago. Do you want to go? Well, I think it'd be fun. Okay.
Yeah. So we're rolling down there, and then I don't know what we'll do after that. I'm still trying to get the schedule like nailed down for filming. I don't know if we're gonna finish filming the show after NAB or if I'm gonna come back here to Montana or to Austin. I don't know. I haven't really figured out.
It's kind of how it goes. We book a one-way flight.
Yep.
We figure it out after that.
Every time I book a return flight, I end up like wanting or needing to change it. So
Really?
yeah, I'd rather like risk like just not having a flight.
Yeah.
I feel like it's riskier to have a flight than.
Well, when you're traveling a lot, it's kind of, you don't know if you're going to end up in Salt Lake City, if you're going to end up in, I don't know, your typical cities or Vegas. Never would have thought we'd end up in Vegas.
We cut back on traveling a lot this year. Last year, we were all over. This year, we were much more calculated,
Yeah.
simpler travel, more efficient.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's update. Yeah. We're going to NAB, and then we're going to be in Flagstaff and Overland Expo.
Yeah. So I'll be at I'll be at Overland Expo. I don't know, teaching like a panel or 2 or 3 or something. And then we'll have like a booth.
I'm super stoked about that because I think it's going to be fun to talk about. We're in the creator area, and we're going to be talking about, actually, I don't even know. I think we get to design like whatever we want for one, right? And then you're going to sit in 2 panels. So whatever the topic is of that. What did you sit in last year? It was I
don't even remember, honestly. It was something about being a creator. There's just a ton of creators on the panel, though. So
it was like earning a living while being a content creator, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
That's just generally what I'll be talking about. And that's what a lot of the stuff, I think. Like, it's not just, when you think about all this, like, travel and I don't want to say, like, aspirational or motivational, like, because everyone, like, that's kind of like the vibe you get in these types of videos and things. But it's more, like, tactical and, like how do you actually do things? What's a tangible thing I can, stair step my way towards this instead of just saying, like, just do it, book the flight. And it's like, yeah, sure, for a weekend. But, like, if you really want to do something, like, if you really want, like, a life-changing, like, plan, you got to have some some ideas. And so I think that's the stuff we'll really try to cover and like put more structure around.
Yeah, we're building courses too. So we're trying to figure out, we've had a lot of people ask us questions about, I mean, I focus on user-generated content primarily, and Aaron focuses on videography and, right, cinematography. And so you're creating courses based on what people are asking, and same with me. Yep. So that's a new thing too.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of stuff of like, what are the channels like for marketing? What are the channels for like the skill sets? But then like, how do you actually, like, what are the tools? Like web design, logo design, how to present yourself, how to close, how to communicate, like just all the business operation stuff. It can take a lot of time to set up, and there's a lot of trial and error around things like that. And so, I've run a creative agency for almost 15 years, something like that. We worked with some big brands. And so I'm just going to take a lot of what we did, building a multi-million-dollar agency, into like really breaking it down to the solopreneur level, to where you can run your business remotely. So as long as you have Wi-Fi and like a work ethic and some structure around yourself,
yeah,
kind of work from wherever.
What do you think your biggest challenge is with working remote?
Working remote challenge, if it's always getting situated in a spot you can work for a long time. And so, yeah, like the weather can impact it, or a coffee shop, or the Wi-Fi, as long as you can get comfortable and connected.
I noticed the number one thing that you do is you always bring a towel. Mm-hmm. Like you always have like a gym towel or whatever, but you'll bring the towel inside the coffee shop to sit on it, because that will make you sit there longer. Yeah. As if the chair has a cushion on it. That's
such a silly thing, but I can sit in a hard wooden chair for like an hour or two longer.
Yeah. It's so interesting on how situational it could be, though. Yeah. I mean, really, it all depends. Like yesterday, the Wi-Fi kept cutting in and out for us, and so it was really hard for us to get something done. Today, what was the problem today?
Today was a weird one. That was a first.
That was an interesting one, yeah.
There was poop on the floor.
There was literal...
the coffee shop.
Poop on the floor. I don't know. We had two theories. One, it was I thought it was a dog. A dog was having a really bad day, ate something it should not have eaten, and went through the coffee shop, literally from the front door all the way back to the bathroom.
It was like 30, 40 yards of a poop trail.
It circled all the way back around. And so I'm sitting there and I'm working and I'm super focused, and all of a sudden I just smell poop. And I'm like, what is that? And then you're looking back and he's like smelling his coffee.
I thought it was the water. I was like, what is in this water?
He's smelling his coffee. And then I'm like, what is that? And he was like, I think there's poop. And I look over and
I didn't think.
Yeah, you knew. I look over and yeah, you could see there is a whole poop trail. Those things just don't happen. So that's why I say it's so situational it's wherever you're going to work the best. And you get more. What?
It's just funny. Yeah, usually you want to avoid the poop.
You want to avoid places that have poop on the floor. Yeah. And free refill of coffee. That's a big one.
Well, I don't, even if it's just like a $1 refill or whatever, but
yeah, the $1, yeah.
Because I drink so much coffee. But the big thing for me was like decaf,
Yeah, decaf coffee.
I drink decaf. So those are personal things. But yeah, having a comfortable seat that you can work for a little while. Reliable Wi-Fi, and then every town's different on the types of coffee shops they have. Some places have like cafes where they want you in and out. Yeah. Some places you can post up. So.
Yeah, we went to a coffee shop in Missoula and they did not offer Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason behind that. They don't want people just posting up all day long. And
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
$3 office space,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so it's just, that's another thing. I mean, the whole 9 to 5, this is a weird one for me, but it's lighting.
Lighting's a big one.
Lighting's a big one. If I'm working in a co-working space and the lighting is brutal, or if I'm facing a window and the sun is shining in, it hurts my eyes, that kills me. I used to work in corporate office, and for those who don't know, and the lighting was brutal. It was like being in a hospital. It was so bright, but the lighting, you can alter the lighting so that way your workers are more efficient, apparently, and they work more. I don't know. That's like there's like a whole science behind lighting.
Yeah. I used to, like, my first like internship, we worked at, it was a big company. It's called Helena Troy. It's in El Paso. And they own things like Dr. Scholl's, Revlon, like Brute, like big companies. And they had like 4 wings. Like one was R&D, where it's like they're testing hair dryers. But then like the marketing wing, the graphic design wing was just like dark. Because it was just people like doing graphic design.
Yeah.
And they just like turn the lights off.
It changed your computer. I mean, if you're editing video, I mean, I was messing around with a video today and you walked by and you're like, that looks orange. And I think it was just...
It's questioning your color grading.
That was a drag and drop from your file folder, so...
Gotta adjust them. You gotta adjust them. Bring it down a little bit.
It could be, I don't know, lighting of your computer makes a difference.
I put that new monitor in the office, and I could not figure out why all my videos looked like crap. Like, they just looked so overly edited and all this stuff. And it's because that new monitor, I had it on like a reader mode. And so everything was super flat. And I kept like turning up the contrast, crushing the blacks. And then I would post it to social, and I was like, this look like shit. Like, what did I do? And then I realized, it's like, oh, I'm editing on this monitor. And so I had to like go back.
It's kind of crazy how it's just the monitor switch changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Probably spend an hour editing these videos, and it was just because of the monitor.
Yeah, all that stuff matters.
Yeah. So basically, working beyond 9 to 5 is my joke is my 9 to 5 paid for my 5 to 9, and then now that's kind of gone. Now it's like every day feels like a Saturday and a Tuesday at the same time.
Yeah, no, the days blend. You're never off. It's the whole, like, I work 100 hours a week, so I don't have to work 40 hours. And, you know, you don't ever turn it off. You have to build structure. That's like the big thing.
Yeah.
Because there's like 2 things with working for yourself. Like, one, when you don't have a boss, you are the boss. And then when people around you say things like, well, you're the boss, you don't have to work this weekend, you can do whatever you want. You're like, well, that's the problem. Like, I have to be my boss. I have to work, or else nothing gets done.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you work in a 9 to 5 like salary environment, you could have the most inefficient week ever. Like, everything goes wrong. There's bugs, there's things, there's delays, but your paycheck's going to show up on the 1st and the 15th or whatever, or every 2 weeks, however it's set up. But like, when you work for yourself, those days and hours lost is costing you money. And so like it can get a lot more frustrating when you're seeing your margins go down, or you're seeing your effort like not return money. And so those are things that like is a transition, and like the sooner you get that and embrace that, like, you can begin to build the structure you need. But I think a lot of folks won't get that at first, because they're just used to like paychecks coming in, and when that stops, and then the stress starts kicking up a lot.
Oh no, yeah, I feel that very firsthand. Working, having this stable income. I mean, this is going to be my first month not having my corporate income, and I'm equally stoked about it, and oh shit, mindset too. And I think one thing I've had to shift is getting up early. So when I worked for corporate, I would wake up really early, try to work out, and then get dressed, and then go into the office. And now, and I had to learn this lesson when I worked remote because of COVID. And then the classic, we all had to come back into the office, so it helped me mentally, and I got back into that routine of getting ready. But I think when you own your own business and you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, you need to get up early and have a routine. But you said something that I thought was really smart is, if you're more efficient at 10 a.m., stop trying to force feed you to be efficient at 6 a.m. because you're just going to feel defeated. I think that was really smart.
Yeah, you just got to find what works for you, because there's a lot of, gurus and influencers that are like, I get up at 4 a.m. I read 5 books. Yeah, I read a book on 10x pace while I ice bath and eat like organic eggs from whatever. Don't get me wrong, I do a lot of those things, but
I was going to say, what works best for you?
Waking up with the sun, like just waking up when I wake up, which is like my optimal hours are like 11 to 7. Like, that's kind of my window. That's optimal. And that's most optimized, like avoiding alcohol at certain, like, in the evening. So sleep's high quality. And then like the best thing I can do is work out right when I wake up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things, like I don't have like the data off the top of my head. I can't remember. But there's like all sorts of things around like cortisol and things like that when you wake up in the first like 45 minutes, like the first hour. Like one, like the light resets your circadian rhythm. And that's like one of the more important things with like sleep regularity. And then the cortisol that spikes in the morning. So that's why you want to avoid things like caffeine, like right when you wake up, because it kind of keeps that up. Whereas like if you go do physical activity, it like starts all those different actions in your body and can get you in a more like level area. And then I try to have like avocado and things like that, like higher fats in the morning. So I'm a little bit more mellow throughout the day, like the first part of the day. And I can focus on the harder tasks first. So whatever is most important and hardest task, I attack that first. And like, that's my optimal day. Now, do I do that all the time? When I'm traveling, it's hard, like if I slept like crap or transitions from different cities and climates is always a challenge, but
God, I feel like I'm so opposite of all those things.
Yeah, I know.
I am not a morning person. And
give me my coffee in bed.
Yeah. Cup of coffee, or I'll go and sit on the couch and just hang out. And I don't get up and crush it like everyone else does. I don't know if I think I might end my life.
Okay.
I mean, I think that there's still an echo on it, and I don't know. It's confusing because it says there's like a lot of people joining, but then there's like 2 people on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll just let it ride.
All right. Okay. So one of the questions that I had is, why do you think people are so miserable in their day-to-day lives?
Oof. I mean, there's so many reasons, but
I know. But what do you see as a trend on your videos? Because people watch your videos and they're always saying how inspired they are about how, you're just your lifestyle or getting outside. And so what is something that you see of why people are miserable?
I think people feel stuck in whatever it is. And there's like, with anything, expectations is a big thing in life, of like client expectations in a project or your expectations on a vacation can really like set your level of disappointment, like if you do it wrong. And so I think people have expectations on life, which is, common, obviously. And so if life's not living up to your expectations, then you can feel stuck pretty quick and essentially feel like you're hopeless, like there's nothing you can do to change it. And so that's like, I guess that would be a big part of Grumpy Bear as well, is like kind of rewriting that inner monologue of like, you can make changes. It might take a long time, but you set a big goal and then reverse engineer that to small achievable steps. And then over time you can like kind of take control. But people just seem like I get a lot, like I'll post videos that are for me, like I just wanted to make it, or there's a song, I just was like, that was a cool song, I just want to make something with that music. And then sometimes I'll make some, like the other day, I was like, I get these comments and direct messages where people spill their guts out to me, or just say something about how, I don't know, like the videos or certain videos have helped them like kind of, I don't know, feel seen, or they connect with it because they're depressed or whatever. I don't know. I never thought like little TikToks and Reels would do anything. I just was, having fun at first. And now it's like, now I want to make stuff for that, if it is helping. And I do enjoy it. And so I think a lot of people are they feel alone, they feel isolated, they feel purposeless. And so I just think it's about reframing stuff. And what's cool about the internet and social media is you actually do get a lot of exposure to different like types of thinking. So if you want to get into a different industry or a different city or different culture, different profession, whatever it is, you can start consuming content from people in those spaces and start gathering how they think. And, the old saying of like, you're going to be like the 5 people you spend the most time around. Well, that can also be like the type of content you consume and the type of podcasts you consume. You'll start thinking and like really you'll reframe your perception of certain things. If you're tuning into different folks and like trying to better yourself or educate yourself or elevate your thinking. And so I think it's, I just think people feel stuck, and I would rather share like different routes to get unstuck.
Yeah,
yeah, no, you think that's accurate?
You I noticed you put Q&As on your I don't know, Instagram stories. Do you get the same question for everything?
God, I'd have to look at the questions.
When I say everything, I mean like every time you do it. Do you get the same kinds of questions, or is it usually geared?
Yeah. Some of it's camera stuff, like filmmaking stuff. Like I'll get a few, and then that's another like avatar that I would create forward. It's like I'm kind of a camera nerd. So like, yeah, I'm like, dude, what settings was that? You know, like, 'cause you're just like, that looks awesome. Like, how did you get your lowlights to look like? What ISO are you at? Or what camera, you know, like, so there occasionally there's like the filmmaker stuff, like what camera is that? And that's not always a vanity thing. Sometimes it is a curiosity thing, you know?
Yeah.
But there's that. And then there's a lot of grief. A lot of people are grieving loss of something.
Do you feel like you carry that with you?
Like other people's?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I sometimes disappear. Because like sometimes I have to like kind of get off of social because it's like heavy, and you start getting in your head. Because like if I can just sit there and create, like that's cool, post it. But if you start like hearing all these voices, you kind of want to like, it starts influencing like the way that I, at least, because I pour a lot. I only edit it based on how I feel, you know. And so there's a few like times this winter where I was so burned out that music didn't sound good. Like I couldn't get into any of my playlists. I was like, every one of these songs is not like, I wouldn't even listen to my own playlist. Whereas like normally every song I'm like, oh my God, that song is so good. So it's kind of like you like food tastes better or worse, you know, based on how you feel. And so, yeah, you definitely, I carry it because it's just heavy. Like people pour and you care. And so, but like, you know, I mean, you're dealing with your own stuff. We all ebb and flow. And like, if I'm like at a high energy level, then it doesn't bother me as much.
But you didn't start creating your content for that reason. It just kind of happened, right?
Yeah. I didn't ever think that would be a thing.
What was your initial intention when it came to creating your account?
I just always wanted to be a filmmaker, not like, not even like professionally. And like when I say professionally, I never like envisioned it as a possibility. And so I think that's like part of it. Like, you know, I've kind of been able to like try to crack the code on a few like, oh my God, that is possible. Whereas like, okay, for example, if you want to be like a Hollywood superstar, a NBA basketball player, or a rock star, well, a lot of us can like pretty much scratch that off. Like that's not happening. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, my hand-eye coordination, there might be a future for me.
Yeah. You know, which sport?
All of them.
Name one.
Go big.
Name a sport. Seriously. No.
A football.
Oh.
Basketball. Been watching Caitlin Clark a lot. I think I could do it too.
Name dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but like you can scratch that off. So like I look at everything if I'm not going to be good at it or professional or whatever. I love hobbies, you know?
Yeah.
So like I don't have to be a filmmaker or whatever. It's like, oh, YouTube's a thing. No, TikTok. And so I just I was obsessed with like movies where the photography was just the shots and the music, like soundtracks since I was a kid, like have always been my favorite thing. Like every time there's a movie I connected with, I had to have the soundtrack. And so that's kind of where I lean so heavily into sound design and like really want to like feel the scene.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to make something like that. And like, at first I was just making vlog style stuff, you know.
I loved your vlogs back in the day. I love them. And I think you need to bring them back.
We'll see.
Because they were so good.
We'll see.
No, you should.
The only thing with vlogging is that you don't get to be as present like if there's always a camera, you know?
Oh,
And so you start feeling like, is this content, is that, or like I should do that versus just living your life. And so I think vlog style is on the table, you know, where it's like on these days we're going to do X, Y, Z.
Which is so ironic that you say that, because vlogging is all about, you know, blogging your lifestyle, video.
I think most people that do vlogs eventually realize like they'll burn out on it. It's unsustainable because you just can't like live your life like that. I don't think for long, unless like you're making money. Like if it's like your profession, that can be a little bit different. Like you turn on work mode. But anyway, so it looks like we got a little underwater sound. Sorry on TikTok on mine. Like if it's a little underwater, we're just kind of trying both.
I just thought it would be a good idea to, if you're on TikTok and then people can see like who you're talking to, but I feel like it's kind of causing more. I wonder if we switch our mics, would it help?
I just don't know if my mic's working.
Why wouldn't it be working?
I don't know if it's plugged in all the way. So we're using these DJI Love mics for our phones, but I got this case and it like doesn't always plug in all the way.
Do you not see it like moving at the bottom?
That doesn't tell me anything.
Oh, really?
That doesn't tell me if it's plugged into the camera.
Oh.
So we really like these mics though.
I love
these. Are like my favorite mics ever.
Yeah.
DJI mics.
These guys?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
So now I got my Grumpy Bear reporter for the podcast, and you got the higher end, you got the upgrade.
They're both great mics.
As long as y'all can hear us.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a couple people said I have an echo on mine, but that's okay.
Yeah. We'll just keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Vlogs, I like vlogs. I just decided like I didn't want to create that anymore. We're gonna be doing some vlog style, but we'll be doing
Should we do a vlog at NAB show this weekend?
No. You can go for it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even get a camera on the plane, so we'll see.
Well, that'll be a very big problem.
Oh yeah, you're taking yours.
I need to bring my camera.
Well, I'm not taking a camera, I don't think.
Oh, really?
I don't think I'm bringing anything. Well, I'm going to measure my camera bag. I don't think it'll fit on that little plane.
No, basically, Aaron and I are flying on the wing.
Yeah, we booked the cheapest flights.
We literally booked the cheapest flight because we were not intending to go to NAB. It just wasn't in the cards. And then because it was such a last-minute decision, I don't know. I'm trying to be financially smarter these days. I didn't even really like formally announce it or anything, but I got laid off this past month. And so I'm just trying to be smarter with how I'm spending my money. And I don't want to just, the week I get, it's like my last week. Oh, let me just book a $1,500 trip to NAB for Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, strap me to the wing of a Legion.
We'll win it back. Yeah, so we're just not packing much. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably come back and I don't know. But, and then you're going to...
I have client work, yeah. So that's how I'm able to work remote, is I'm picking up working for clients and doing their marketing. I focus a lot on local industry companies, and then I'm filming for them, and I'm trying to do more user-generated video content.
Yeah. That's actually one of the... You were asking me, like, what questions I get. People ask that a lot.
What?
How, like, what I do for work.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, if we're both, that's what we're going to talk a lot about, but.
Yeah. I mean, we were just at a bar yesterday or 2 days ago in Big Fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in Big Fork, and this, just chatting with a friend, someone we just met at the bar top, and he was like, what do you guys do? Because we said we travel a lot, and so content creators work for clients, and I think the user-generated content for me it's going to get challenging if I'm not organized. So, for example, I'm flying to Texas after NAB to film for clients, but I have a company that's sending me a fancy toothbrush water pick, and so I need to figure out like where I'm going to be. I'm having them send the product there, and I'm just picking it up and just going to film while traveling. And that's what I'm nervous about, because I'm like, well, if I'm only going to be in this one place for a week, do I I have to get it, I have to plan it right. And if I don't, then I'm...
Yeah, and these are elements that like we factor in. And so like, I guess if we like line item it, like you do user generated content, so you're basically like an actress for ads, or essentially. And then you do client work, like manage their social media and local search marketing, stuff like that.
Yep.
And then getting into user generated content, like education and consulting, really probably help brands be better about working with creators.
Yeah.
So like that's sum up like what you do.
Yeah. I just launched a YouTube, and I'm speaking to content creators on how to be a content creator and what that even means. And it really does fit the niche for pretty much everyone. I mean, I did a lot of gamer videos back in my old TikTok days. And so if you do gaming videos, imagine, one of your favorite companies sending you a keyboard for you to film yourself using. Yeah. You get the keyboard and you get cash. So it's pretty cool to get products that you actually use on a day-to-day basis. And that's really how it all started. And now that I don't just get free products. It's work. It's actual work. So I have to plan around where I'm going to be traveling and staying. And
yeah, no, that impacts, like, I'm just going to check this while we're recording here.
Okay. What are you checking?
Making sure that I didn't fill up a memory card or something. I always get paranoid about that.
Oh.
Because you can film like an hour and then you can't see the screen. So I don't have it set up. Yeah. But, yeah, no, that's like one of the many ways to make money. And, knowing the platforms, knowing how to price yourself, sell yourself, how to find clients. Finding clients is the number one question like anyone asks. Like, where do you get your clients? That I've seen.
Where do you get your clients?
Me?
Yeah.
Now? I was talking about you and you, like literally anything, honestly. For me, clients have come from, like, I started out just networking, like offering some services, a lot of word of mouth. And then, referrals is like the best lead gen. Like, it's just how most of my clients, because you do stuff and then people refer you, and you just got to do a good job and, be really personable. And there's like little things you can do to like make it, easier to like refer you and things like that.
Yeah.
But
this is actually, that's a whole episode that I filmed for my YouTube, is where I pick up clients that's not on a referral basis. Like, how do you find them? And I give different platforms that I found. So the first platform I jumped on was B-Roll. And B-Roll is just an app. They don't have a desktop version or anything like that. It's just your app. And because it's so new and user-generated content is a new concept, there's bugs within it and everything, and so they're just working out the kinks. But it was just almost like cold calling. It's like Etsy, except in the user generated world.
Yeah, no, every service and things like that are different. Like all my stuff now comes from like social media and SEO, all the smaller stuff, and then digital marketing, but as far as like the services, client services, that's really like going to trade shows, going to networking events, putting yourself out there. Social media can certainly help. But it's like, there's no like science to it. It's like more of an art. And I think putting out good content now is, to me, just like the best way to do stuff.
Yeah. How would you describe good content?
Well, there's a lot of ways to define good content. Like, it's not just well produced.
How do you define good content?
It adds value. It adds, you either you're educating someone or entertaining someone, or you're doing something that's very like hard to replicate, which could kind of fall in the entertainment category. But like the people that, go through, like, there's this one guy I follow, and he just goes to the Florida Everglades and does crazy stuff, and no one can replicate that. Like, so like, he's just jumping on crocodiles and poisonous snakes and spiders, and like doesn't faze him. And I'm like,
try it home.
Do not try it home. And he's like just tens of millions of views per video, because it's like you can't. He's the only one. He
literally risked his life.
I guess, or he's superhuman or immune to poison. But like, I think like that's something, or if you're educating people and they're getting value. So quality content really can be defined a lot of ways. Each like niche and category is very different, and depending on who you are, like if you're a veteran person, like you've been in a lot of experience, you can teach a lot. You have a lot of credibility. If like I leaned into photography because that was my strength, and so you got to lean into your strengths and don't try to emulate someone that is outside of your your strength area. Stay in your lane.
Speaking of that, what's the balance between staying relevant on social media versus not letting someone influence you? Okay, let me further expand on that. So whenever I'm scrolling on social media, it's usually so that way I can see what's trending, what people...
Is that why you scroll? Just research? Just research?
It's all research. Absolutely. Versus you start getting in a rut because you are comparing yourself to somebody. Yeah. How do you find that balance? Do you find a balance?
I think it depends on where you're at. I mean, socially, like humans compare themselves upward. Like the more like, let's say sociopathic, narcissist, whatever, like the more like overly confident you are, the more you will compare yourself to people like under you, and you'll elevate yourself. Whereas you'll have like a competitiveness to people that maybe are ahead of you, where you think like they'll kind of trigger that competitive edge, and maybe you'll like compare yourself in a way that you think you are at their level.
Yeah.
But then everyone else, like I think the majority compares themselves to people above them, and that can be at any stage of life. And so you could be way ahead of a bunch of folks, but you're still going to compare yourself to someone ahead of you. And so and I wrote that was one of the newsletter articles recently, like back in like either November or something like that, where we talked about that comparison theory. And I think you have to do your best to, two things. One, you get to limit social media, but two, you got to practice the gratitude stuff, like not in the cliche, like just be thankful. Like the practicing gratitude, if you list out stuff you're grateful for every day, it not only like rewires your brain, but two, it starts helping you solve problems with what you have. And I did that the other day. I was getting really frustrated with like where I'm at, because the websites have taken me way longer just because I have so much work. I haven't been able to finish them. And I got really discouraged because like I have a bunch of mugs ready to go, but I was like, I'll launch the mugs, these awesome mugs. And I was like, no, I'm not going to launch these until the website's live. Well, then months go by, and then I'm like, well, I should just put them on the current website. But it was like, anyway, it was one of those silly things. And so what I did is I just sat there and worked out, and I wrote down what I had.
Yeah.
Not like what I wanted to do, what my goals were. I just said, what do I have? Like what is currently in place? And I was like back to first principles, like just what I had a year ago, which was working fine, And so I just wrote down those things and only worked on those, like in my headspace of like when I have a minute to think, instead of just being like my to-do list and like just getting frustrated. I was like, okay, I have this, and this. All right, let's talk about this, and this, and we'll set this goal, and made it really easy. So you just got to like focus on what you have and start there. Because if you focus on what you don't have, which social media helps you focus on, then you're going to be much more like reluctant to take a first step.
Yeah, I say that in a couple of my videos too. I mean, focusing on what you have is not... You can get started anywhere. You don't need to have these epic mountains in all of your views, right? I mean, there are you have to find the beauty in everything. I mean, I saw a video of a guy who did a video on railroad tracks that were just super old. And the way, like the angle and the way he filmed it was dope. I mean, he didn't need to have this like unreal mountain, which would be super cool, but...
Well, and like, it's funny because like you say that, like, because I do have the mountains. Yeah. And so I don't ever want to say, it's like, yo, it's easy for you to say. Well, it actually goes the opposite direction because I was focusing on things I didn't have. Like, I didn't know what to say, but I was trying to say something. Like, I had all these ideas. And then when I finally focused on what I had, which happened to be epic mountains, I just stopped talking. I was like, I have a camera, a mountain, and I like music.
Yeah.
And I have a chair. And that's what worked for me. And that's what I just like cut out all the thinking. So that it can go on the opposite where like if I filmed my exact same videos in like a Texas backyard, they would do nothing. Like it would be, because like the focus is on where you're at. So if you're in a backyard or if you're in an office, what do you have? Like, okay, well, we're assuming everyone has a camera, a phone, or a way to record because we're talking about content.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you have? Like, what'd you do today? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, now your message gets to be the focal point. And so you just kind of have to cut out what you don't, like, stop thinking about what you don't have.
Well, that's one thing I love about your videos is you allow, and I said this from the very beginning when I met you, is you allow the viewers to create their own story in your videos. You're not telling them what to think. You're not telling them how to feel. You're just showing them a view. And you're standing there or sitting, drinking coffee probably, and not saying anything. You're not telling them what they need to think or what they need to feel. And when I first saw your videos and I didn't actually know you in person, I had no idea what your personality was like. And then when I met you for the first time, I was like, oh, he has opinions and he has thoughts.
Too many.
No, not too many. No, it was refreshing. But yeah, and I think you're allowing someone to create their own story from your video is really cool. Was that intentional? Or was that really like I don't know what to say.
No.
I'm just not going to say anything.
It was more so like I wanted to make just like a film or a video or something, but I'm used to being like behind the camera producing or directing or something. And so I wrote a pilot, like a concept for a show I wanted to create like 10 years ago, maybe. It was like 2014, 15, so like 10 years ago. And the entire time I was trying to think, who could I cast to play this person? Never once in a million years did I think I'm going to play that person. Like, it never crossed my mind. Like, I wasn't going to play a role. I was going to maybe play like the valet guy in like a scene, like as a joke to like.
You wanted to be a cameo in your own.
Yeah, I wanted to be a cameo, kind of like what's his name does that all the time.
Adam Sandler.
Well, Adam Sandler's just in his movies, but no,
all of his friends. It's all his people.
I'm blanking out his name. Let's see. Oh, I feel like I can't think of his name. Super famous director, but he'll show up in random roles in his own movies, and it's hilarious. Tarantino will be like, sometimes he has some speaking roles, but he shows up in most of his movies.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much like intentional or anything other than like, hey, I think this would be a cool moody scene. I don't have an actor. Like, and like when you start working with people like directing and stuff, and you're not working with professional actors, even if you're working with people that are aspiring actors, like not everyone's good on camera or can do it. And so that's why people do casting calls, because it's like, do they just have it that I want as this character role? And if you're not, it's hard to like, if people get nervous on camera, like if you're doing a commercial shoot for like a business or something,
yeah,
people are uncomfortable, and like getting them comfortable it's a challenge. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you have to have a couple tricks up your sleeve. And so sometimes you'll want people to do something, and I think over time, if you're working behind the camera, you stop caring because you're like, I just want you to do this. Like I really just want the result. And so you stop caring about the camera as far as like that feeling. And so I think it makes it really easy to be on camera because like, just do this, and like you do it. And so for me, I was like, I'm just by myself and I want to make a film, but I'm by myself. So I'm just going to walk over here. Yeah. Okay. Put the camera down. I'm going to walk over here. I don't know. I just wanted to make a scene, and like, it was like cloudy, and I was like, ooh, this song would be anyway.
Do you remember where you were when you, like, you're talking about a scene that's,
well, I'm thinking about
a specific place.
I'm thinking about a particular one. Like I started out just doing like, hey, here's a photo I'm going to take. So I'm on a hike. It was kind of vlog with here's the photos. And then it turned into I allowed myself to be a little moodier with the music selection. So I tried to like bring in my music taste, which I was like kind of like, I like dark, moody stuff. And so wasn't really like wanting to put that out there. But then there's this one song where I remember here, it was like winter, and it was one of my favorite videos. And then that was like an evolution. The next evolution was the video that really kind of took off, where I was, instead of talking to the camera, like, hey guys, here, I'm going to do this, which is pretty straightforward. Like, I think it's a weird element to switch from talking to a camera to acting, because there's a fine line of cringe that can happen. The gray area is cringe, you know? And so I was like, oh God, I'm not about to like, you know, the whole like, oh, you're acting like the camera's not there. Like, there's a fine line between, like, if that makes sense, you know, where you're obviously acting versus you're acting like you're not acting. Like,
yeah,
you know,
pretending like the camera's not there.
Yeah, totally candid, you know.
That just makes me think of the videos that are going viral right now of people trying to eat at the pace of their partner. And how do you not see this camera that's the
Sneaky.
phone that's sitting right here in front of you?
I think they really don't. Some of the good ones, I'm like, I don't think they saw them set it up. They probably just think they're scrolling or something.
Or they probably think they're just filming themselves for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I just filmed I don't even know why I filmed it, honestly. I was just trying to get B-roll for like potential YouTube videos. And then I was like, I'm going to do like a little scene here, and I'm going to film it vertical. And then it sounded like a shotgun mic. The day was like one of the most epic days of my entire life as far as like clouds and just scenery. It was one of those days I went out for literally a 15-minute drive just to like, let's drive to the river. I came back 9 hours later. I was just out all day taking photos, filming. It was just, and the day flew by.
We should put the clip up on the podcast of which one you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Cue the clip. Okay, we're back. What did you think?
We'll have to like put a link in if it's audio only. Well, what else do you want to do with these podcasts? I don't even know how we're going to.
Someone made a comment on my video. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought or your question there, but someone said that video where she's there and then she's not.
Oh,
they cried for days relating. I know what video that is.
Yeah. On the dock.
The dock?
Remember we did the dock. Is that the one?
Oh, I was thinking of the one at your kitchen table.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't know.
That one moved me personally. The dock.
The dock.
Oh, yeah, that one.
I did the re-edit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Aaron was a little emotional after he finished editing that, and he just wanted to like hang out with me. Not that we don't hang out every day, but you know, it was like one of those where I was doing some boring task, I don't know, and he just like came and sat next to me. He was like, I just got done editing this video and I'm really sad.
Don't ever leave me.
Don't ever leave me. I'll try.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so you asked the question of what do I see with the podcasts? Is that what you were asking?
Well, yeah, apparently we're having seasons.
We are having seasons. So we have been working with brands, and that's something that, you know, going to Overland Expo and going to NAB, and we're just meeting a bunch of different people, brands, content creators. And so a lot of brands that we're working with, we're trying to figure out what works best. Like we don't just pick up any brand. We want to pick up a brand that works best for our brand and everything. So different podcasts are going to be sponsored. And then, yeah, just kind of going through where people are at in their lives. So here's some sneak peeks of just episodes is finding your passion, embracing change, the power of mindfulness in everyday life, navigating uncertainty, building a supportive community. Like when you're traveling a lot, I mean, how do you find community in that? Yeah, so there's 15 episodes in season 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I know.
You knew that.
I thought it was episode 1, then episode 2. And the road goes on forever and the party never ends.
We have some structure with this, with Grumpy Bear.
Structure.
We're going to have some
Structure.
No. We're going to have guests too. Yeah, I'd like to have Josh back as a guest. Love having Josh.
Yeah.
He was in some of your videos. And then I think people who are starring in Grumpy Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Like Will.
Yep. Will. Antonio.
Raza, right? Raza, yeah. Yeah, so people who are
Andrea.
in the... Yep, Andrea, absolutely. So that's kind of what I see this. So yeah, this episode was just beyond the 9 to 5. Was just kind of getting started.
Do you think we covered it enough? I don't even remember what we talked about already.
Really? When I wrote this, I think I probably was in the fields a little bit because I had been laid off.
Oh, yeah.
And I had spent almost a year building up a side business, and it would have been hard for me to leave my corporate job, but I had a really good side business going for me, but then my corporate job really started taking over my time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just all consuming. It was consuming my thoughts, your thoughts.
Yeah.
And it was really tough. And so then all of a sudden just came to an abrupt halt, and I was not expecting getting laid off. I was back-to-back meetings. I actually had to schedule time to get work done, is what I call it.
I think that's a good point, though. Like, you just got thrown out into the sharks.
Yeah.
Like, goodbye, you lost your job, but you've been working on stuff. So like now that you are just out here, like how do you, like, what's that lesson of, like, because I have thoughts on this, but like
we had chatted a lot about, well, when do you see yourself leaving your job for, and us working together or building continuing building this business. And I really just didn't have the answer, and actually gave me anxiety
right.
to answer that. I don't know. When I have a certain dollar amount, but how much is enough is really the question.
Yeah.
How much money do I really need? I have no debt, no car payment. I have 3 months savings to pay more, like rent and everything. What better opportunity do I need? And I just don't know when I ever would have left.
And if you're making money on the side plus your salary, there's an element where you're like, well, I'm making a lot. Like, because like if you think about it, you have to make enough money to be able to quit your job. But once you quit your job, you're still cutting out a bunch of money,
big chunk of money.
So you have to really know what you want to do. But like the fact that you started it, because imagine if you started from ground zero, like how,
yeah.
Because like a lot of people just want to quit their job, and I always advise against that because entrepreneurship is a very harsh reality, and it's very hard. It's very lonely. No one's, like we talked about that earlier in the podcast. It's like if you don't have something started, it's going to take you a year, probably 2, to really get something going. The first year is survival mode. Second year is like, okay, I have some footing, and then it's going to take about 2 years until you're like, okay, this is how my business really goes, because you're learning so many new things. Now, anyone that has a skill set or knows how to sell and do things can get stuff going pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But most people are learning all this stuff for the first time. And so you spend so much time just fucking up.
Yeah.
Honestly. But you had a head start. So like now if you're like telling someone, like, because like you got thrown into the wild, but you had a head start. So like, how do you?
Yeah, honestly, there was never really on this day I am leaving this job. And I think I have a lot of respect for people who do that, because it is really, really, really hard to leave a stable income to take a chance in yourself. And I don't know, because I was kind of thrown into it, I kind of feel like I cheated a little bit. Like I didn't take a chance on my own. It was forced on me. And so I do feel like I cheated.
It's not cheating. I mean, you still did it. You still got something going.
I still did it, yes. But still, it was just a little bit of I think mentally, I called you, and because you weren't around me, and
you were in Austin, and I was here in Montana.
Yep. And it was just a shock to the system. I did not see it coming at all. But mentally, I was like, let's go. I'm stoked. I have been working my ass off for this. I'm ready. But then I got sick, and I just mentally crashed or physically crashed because, one of the top 5 stressors a person can go through is losing a job. and it's just kind of the abrupt change is really startling. And so my body was like, can we just chill for a second? Can we just not do anything for a second? I was working 2 jobs and was just stressed more than I probably should have. And now that I'm in it, it's great. And looking back, I don't know, I kind of felt like I was just stuck in this comfort zone. And I don't know when I would have been able to take a chance on myself.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, I know. I know. You're stoked, yeah. Because now we can travel more, and I had to go back into the office, too. So the traveling for you and I really kind of came to a halt there, too. Where I was like, hey, I got it.
And I am not one to put, like, me and 9 to 5 are so polar.
But see, that's what's funny is I am the 9 to 5, and you are beyond the 9 to 5.
I was like, I'm sorry you got to work. I got to camp this week.
We are.
I got to be in the middle of nowhere doing nothing.
Yeah, and now that I'm kind of, hey, I'm in the same field as you. Now let's see what we can do with it. And so, still trying to find a balance of what cadence works best for us. So far, I feel like things have been.
I think we got it now.
Yeah.
I think it's more just preference versus now we don't have to schedule around multiple things.
There were times where I had a little minor panic attack. And this was when Aaron was still in Montana and I was in Austin, and he ended up coming back to Austin because he's like, all right, clearly you're good, but you're a little stressed. Or I was a little worried, and I didn't realize it, I guess. I was like, no, I'm fine. That's kind of how it felt like it was a little bit. But yeah, what better opportunity? You get severance, you get medical stuff still. So I'm kind of in a really good position.
Yeah.
And
moral of the story, I think if anybody is thinking about getting out of the 9 to 5, you got to start using your nights and weekends ahead of time. Start developing skills, figuring out what you can offer the world. Start building that website or getting your LLC or learning how this stuff works. Because there's a lot of tax things that can shock you. Local tax licenses you need, and understanding like just invoicing, deliverable. It's going to take a minute. You can start doing that on the side. You can get a couple of pet projects to like work some kinks out. So by the time, you either do get laid off or you're thinking about like you have enough savings or something to take a risk on yourself. But I definitely don't think people should be quitting jobs or doing things because you do have to make a living. It's not all about money. It's about respecting money's role and, just being able to put food on your table and keep a roof over your head because you need those things to function well. And so,
I think that was my biggest fear is logistics. Yeah. What am I going to do now that I don't get that paycheck on the last day of the month and the 15th of the month? Yeah. And it's planning for the month ahead. And the work that I'm putting in right now today is paying off in 3 months. Yeah. So getting that cadence going. Even though I had started a year prior with building a side business, this past month of me being laid off to today, I've still had to do the grunt work of getting like ironing out my website, getting certain things figured out, like affiliate links all lined up. And I had that, but because my 9 to 5, your boss is going to increase your workload. There's always going to be something. So yeah, just kind of, I like what you said, though. Don't just quit your job. Definitely have a plan.
Yeah, I think too many people think that if they just quit their job, it's going to light that fire.
Yeah.
And it's like true, but like the stress and anxiety of not having a salary or like security is going to weigh on you. And like you're not going to be able to concentrate. And it just, whether you're motivated or not, it takes time. And if you, like, I've never really had a steady job, so I don't know, like, I'm not really used to having a comfortable anything because my life has been a roller coaster. It's been great, but, like, I've been broke many a times, because I've also swing for the fences every time. And I can just imagine, like, I can't imagine, like, well, the closest I can imagine is, like, I played football for a while, and, like, you start getting paid big checks, and we got them on a weekly basis.
Oh, weekly?
Yeah, you get paid each game, basically. It's game check. Oh. And
I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, it's different for every sport. But like once the season's over, those checks just stop. just go to blank. So that's the closest I have experienced. Because every time I've like had a kind of a job, I've also done side hustles. So like my money's never come from one thing. Football was the one time it did. And it, anybody can get really used to, comfort of like, oh, these checks, like, it's just like, you assume this is going to be how it goes for the rest of your life. And like, I didn't grow up that way. I grew up with everything kind of like being awesome and then taken away. So everything always kind of feels like
highs and lows that came pretty close to each other.
Yeah. And I always feel like everything's temporary. And so I always kind of have this, I'm waiting for it all to end. Even if it's like, no, dude, you're good. I don't trust you, like, and so, not you, like you.
No, I know.
But like, I think a lot of folks can be like, oh, I made it. This is it. I'm like, no, like, you got to prepare in case it's all ripped away. Yeah. In entrepreneurship, man, it's all up to you. Everything's up to you. And you're going to have costs you don't see coming. You're going to F up something with taxes or fines. Like, you're going to have random shit. Like, I got to pay for that.
Oh, I think the worst thing is whenever you mess up for a client and, just learning those hard lessons and just like, oh my gosh, even if it's just a post or, for one company that I work for, it was just their Google ads. They were just charged an astronomical amount and just fighting for your client. And so these are the things too, where for big corporations, it's not, I don't know, it's a small thing, but for smaller companies, it's a lot bigger thing. So it's just, you have to just change your mindset.
What's our next episode before I start going off in tangents?
Getting bored with me?
No, I'm not. I just don't want to like step on next episode's toes.
Yeah, no, actually.
Topic wise, at least.
So, episode 2 is going to be finding your passion. Pivotal moments and experiences that we discovered, like for UGC or for videography, photography. What are 2 steps that listeners can take to identify their own passions and integrate them into their own lives? So, yeah, good action items for episode 2.
Okay.
But before we end this and before we start episode 2, I want to do the classic sponsored by. So this episode of season 1 is sponsored by the Wonderstone at Glacier. And you've stayed at the Wonderstone tons and tons of times. What's your favorite part about the Wonderstone?
Well, I mean, the room, the bed and the shower. That if you're going to Glacier National Park, so a couple of people asked me like where we're at, and yes, we are both in the same room, but most of the places I film are in Montana and west part of the United States, and Glacier National Park is one of the places that I just feel like it has a gravitational pull for me. Like, I feel like this is the center of like all my adventure, just soul. And the Wonderstone Hotel is just this little motel that they took over and redid it. And just the design's super, I call it the millennial motel, because it has no like amenities, but it's got the most comfortable bed, an awesome shower. And Brian, who like does the construction, he's a taller guy, so he wanted a taller shower head. So it's super like nice in all the right areas, and they're redoing the hotel across the road, which is going to be even nicer.
Yeah, so when we interviewed the owners, one of my favorite things that they said is they purchased this building. This building was a Super 8, like 20 years ago, I guess. And it makes me think of Schitt's Creek on how they took motels and they DIY'd it, and they amplified it. They just made it super cute, luxurious. They cleaned it up. You walk in and it's really adorable. It's I think they described it as a motel Airbnb type. You get the Airbnb feel to it. So it feels like we're staying in an Airbnb right now, and I love it. And it's really cozy. So yeah, it's super close to Glacier National Park. What is it, 15 minutes away?
I think Glacier, it's about 15, 20 minutes from here. Yeah,
okay.
It's really close to the airport. It's right in between. It's really the last town between everything in Glacier. And
Kalispell,
you can actually use, I think she's still got the code DeepSnap. You get a discount.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you go to their website.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there's a spot where they could put in DeepSnap and
and if they're, just go, I'll make sure that's still there. Yeah. She told me it was last time, and I just want to make sure it's still there. But yeah, DeepSnap at checkout if you're going to Glacier National Park. which, I mean, some people are planning that, but yeah.
And I don't know when the newer hotel across the street is going to open.
Should be this year.
This
Late
year?
Summer.
It has a new name, though. It's not called the Wonderstone.
Riverstone.
Riverstone.
Yeah.
So we are going to be filming an episode in the Riverstone lobby. I don't know when, today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the goal. We'll be outside. Couldn't get inside, so we're just going to do it at the front door, so be outside. Yeah, so I think that concludes episode 1.
All right.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys for episode 2.
Thank y'all.
Bye.